Hey there, fellow travelers, Mark here with Wolters World. Today we're soaking up the sun in Turks and Caicos. From beachside don'ts and local food tips to island culture, what to pack, travel advice, and what to know before you go, it's all right here. So let's get started with 100-ish hours of Turks and Caicos. And today we're here in Turks and Caicos. Behind me is Grace Bay, one of the prettiest bays you can go to in the world. Turquoise water. It is just gorgeous. And I'll be honest, my wife and I have been here in Turks and Caicos for about a week, and we've loved our time here. With whether we were going, conch shell diving or snorkeling on the reefs here, or going to, the conch shack and eating our hearts full of conch. I mean, there's so many great fun things to do when you are here. But the thing is even though there's a lot of great stuff to do when you're here, there's also some things you don't do when you come here. And so that's why today we have for you are the don'ts of visiting Turks and Caicos. And my first don't for you, and it's actually kind of a serious but fun one, is don't come to Turks and Caicos unless you're ready to relax. This place is about beach, relax, repeat. Beach, relax, repeat. If you can't do that, if you want to hit a bunch of museums, you want to do a bunch of culture things and all this other stuff, no, that is not here. This is about relaxing when you come to Turks and Caicos. I want to get that through to everybody before they come here, because you have to have the right mentality of sitting back and enjoying beaches like this, because there's a lot of cool stuff to do, but it's really much more of a beach, relax, reset kind of thing. So I want to get that out of the way first, okay? Now, probably the first don't you'll actually come across when you actually do come to Turks and Caicos is actually if you're flying in. And my don't for that would be, once your plane lands, don't dawdle on the plane. You want to get to passport control as fast as you can, because passport control at Providenciales, the Provo, it could take some time. It's a bit slow. And the thing is, if you're coming with multiple planes and you get behind them, you could spend quite a bit of time in that line. So I will tell you to, don't dawdle, hurry up through there, okay? Now the thing is, a lot of people, what they do is they don't fly in. They might come with their cruise ship and go off at Grand Turk, and that's a lot faster. You don't have to really worry about that. But here, you don't want to dawdle. You want to kind of hurry up through. Go to the bathroom after you get through customs, okay? Well, unless you're like, you see the line, maybe go before you get there, but it will take some time, okay? Now, when you're getting out of the airport, you might wonder is, hey, how do I get around town? Where am I gonna go? Well, one of the things I'm gonna tell you is don't count on public transportation when you're here in Turks and Caicos, because there isn't any. There is no public transport. There's no bus system and stuff like that you can do that's really cheap and stuff like that. So you're going to be taking taxis. You're going to be renting a car. You're going to be, borrowing bikes from your accommodation and stuff like that. You can take ferries and boats and stuff like that, but you got to pay for everything. So you got to think about that when you are coming here. So what will usually happen is you're going to be taking taxis a lot of the times. And my next don't for you is don't have a heart attack when they give you the price for the taxis, because a lot of times the taxi prices they're quite high here. I'll just tell you that right now. But also the prices are sometimes per person. So you're like, oh my, for a 15-minute ride, that's how much it is? Oh yes, that's how much it is. And that's what you're gonna pay. So make sure you're talking to the taxi driver before you get in, so you're kind of prepared for when you get out what you're gonna pay, just so you know that. Also, don't expect credit cards to be taken by the taxis. They'll be taken pretty much everywhere else, but maybe not in the taxi. So you need to have some cash when you're here. And what's cool is you don't have to worry too much about the cash here, because they use the US dollar here in Turks and Caicos, which is awesome. The ATMs here spit out dollars. You're coming from the US, just bring cash with you so you're ready to go, because I haven't seen a ton of ATMs around. So you might want to bring some when you do come here, okay? Now, going back to the taxi kind of stuff and getting around, another don't I'll have for you is don't be surprised if there's other people in your taxi when you come here, because it's per person. So you're like paying for that one spot. And since a lot of them are bigger vans, they might take multiple people. So don't be surprised there's someone else going along with you, or they might have a friend with them in the front seat. It's kind of a normal thing, so don't freak out about it. And the thing is, some people when they come, they say, you know what, I don't want to spend all this money on taxis and this kind of stuff. Maybe they want to rent a car, and you can rent a car here. And if you're going to drive a lot for a day, actually I would rent a car just for the day, because it'll be cheaper than taking taxis everywhere. But I have to tell you, don't forget they drive on the left here. Look, Turks and Caicos, we're in the British West Indies. This is a former British colony, and they drive on the left. And the thing that might throw you off when you're here is some of the cars are like they are in England, where the driver is on the right side. But then some of the cars are from the US and their driver's on the left side, and that can really throw you off. So make sure when you're driving or riding your bike, you're always staying to the left. And if you're crossing the street, always look right first and then left, because things are going by, okay? And the thing is, I know I'm talking really fast. I need to slow down, because remember, it's beach, relax, repeat, okay? And the thing is, another don't I have for you is, don't get in a hurry when you're here in Turks and Caicos. I mean, we have island time here in Turks and Caicos, and it's a lot more chillax, slow, calm down, it'll be all right. You gotta have patience when you're here, waiting for your bill, ordering your drinks, waiting for your food, getting the taxi to you, things like that. You gotta have some patience when you're here. And one of the things that I found that really helps you slow down, whether you're driving or riding a bike or something like that, are the speed bumps here. I mean, these things are like speed mountains, okay? So you hit that thing going more than like 2 miles an hour, you're gonna be like, whoa, like that. So do have a heads up for it, okay? Now, my next shock for you actually is just in general, the sticker price of coming to Turks and Caicos, okay? It is not a cheap place to come. I'm not gonna lie to you for that. I'm not talking about the cruise prices of flights. I'm talking being here. Accommodation, the tours, the food. I mean, even going to the grocery store, if you want to like eat in your apartment or your rental or stuff like that, it's expensive to be here, okay? So I kind of look at it this way. What you think is a dinner menu price is probably the lunch menu price here. So usually like dinner entrees are like 40 bucks and lunch entrees are about 20 bucks. And it does add up quickly because we're here on an island, a very popular tourist island. And the thing is, they can't get a lot of the supplies here in big bulk. So that raises the price quite a bit. So you will pay a lot. But the thing is everywhere we've gone, whether it's been restaurants, whether it's been tours, accommodation, where we've stayed and stuff like that, we may be paying a higher price, but we've been very happy with the service we had from the people, the food we've eaten, the accommodation we've had, the tours we had. So it is expensive, but you don't feel like you're really getting ripped off by it, which is a really nice thing. And another thing I kind of would add to that is when you're looking at these prices, another don't I have for you is don't think that the price tag is the final price. Now, sometimes if you see people on the beach and they might have tours or something like that they're trying to offer you or different things, you can sometimes negotiate those prices so you can change it that way. Some of them are set though, so you need to ask. But what I want to say is by not having the set price is here in Turks and Caicos, they actually add the sales tax on after you buy. So if you go to the grocery store, you go to the restaurant, you buy food and stuff like that, you'll get one bill. If you calculate how much you're going to pay before you get your bill, it'll be higher than that by like 10% or a little bit more because the sales tax added on, okay? Another don't I have for you is when you go to those restaurants, right? Don't forget the tax is added on. Also, don't forget you do tip here in Turks and Caicos. So you tip like in the US, 15 to 20% on top of the bill. You will do that because that's how the people make their living here. But I will say you do need to make sure you look at the bill. Okay, because sometimes they'll actually charge the service charge already on there, and then you don't have to tip, or maybe you want to just leave a few extras because they already added a 10% service charge on there. So just have a heads up for that. So the thing is one of those things you're going to be eating at those restaurants you're tipping at is conch. And I have a whole set of don'ts for the conch stuff here because conch is very important here in Turks and Caicos. I mean, it's on the flag, okay? That's how important it is. If you're not sure what conch is, those really cool shells you'll see people selling, the conch is the animal that lives inside. It's like mollusk thing. And the thing is, you can actually go diving for them and get your own. Joss and I went diving for them about 14, 20 feet down. We went down and got our shells and stuff like that. And it was really cool. The guy we went with, he got them out for us and cleaned up the shells and gave it to us. And he gave us some of the conch that we could take home. And we actually made conch ceviche ourselves at our hotel. It was really cool. But the thing is, if you don't want to be that adventuresome in terms of making your own ceviche, you're going to eat conch when you're here. Because, I mean, like I said, that is the most important thing here. And so some of the ones you're going to have, my personal favorite is cracked conch, where they take the conch and they'll like slice it up, or they'll have it apart and they lightly bread it and then fry it. Oh my God, it is so good. Another one you might have, you'll see this one a lot, are conch fritters. It's kind of like a hush puppy with conch inside, and you'll eat that. You might have a conch salad, conch ceviche. I mean, I had this fantastic ravioli, this restaurant that had conch on top of it. I mean, it is really good. I mean, we had conch patties. There's all kinds of great conch you can have. And there's actually the Conch Shack in Provo, which is a fun place to go. And you'll see like the dogs there, the potcakes that are there, and they'll like tug at your heartstrings. I'll tell you now, don't fall in love with the puppies there or the dogs there, because the potcakes, those dogs dogs, you can actually take home. Like, there's an organization that can help you adopt one of those dogs there. So if you're like, oh, I want one of those puppies, don't worry, they can get them to you in time for when you leave. But the thing is you're gonna have a lot of conch when you're there, and the conch shack is a really fun place to go. And honestly, if you're looking at taking home a souvenir, the conch shell is the souvenir to take. You can get it pretty cheap on the beach, or negotiate the prices down, or like we did one of the dives and got our own. We got like 15 of them, and the guy gave the food, like the conch food, to his buddies, and they used the other parts for fishing and stuff. It was just a really cool experience. And we have 2 amazing conch shells to take home, and the ceviche, at our hotel. So that's something there. Another don't I want to have for the food when you're here, don't expect to eat the lobster between April and August, because it's not in season anymore. They actually stopped the season at the end of March. So the lobster, I mean, we've been in Belize and other places and got to have the Caribbean lobster, and oh my God, it is so good. But sadly, when we're here this time, it's out of season, so you can't have it. So don't expect to have it out of season, but you will be able to have a lot of other great stuff. The grouper and snapper is good here as well. There's a lot of really good food here. And I guess I should talk about this one. If you're here on a Thursday, don't skip the fish fry on Thursdays. Here by Provo, there's a big gathering with people, and they'll put up little huts and stuff like that, or little tents, and they'll have a fish fry up, and you can have conch, and you can have fish and all kinds of stuff, and you can meet the locals, and you can meet, the tourists that are here, and it's really kind of a cool thing. And I guess there's another don't I should tell you. If you want to meet the locals here, don't worry, because they speak English. English is the official language of Turks and Caicos. Remember, former British colonies, the British West Indies, they speak English here. And there's Creole too, but English is the language here, so you can talk to the locals, meet them. I found them to be a bit reserved at first, but once you start talking to them, talking about your time here in Turks and Caicos, talking about the food, talking about the things you've done, they really do open it up, and it does make for a really cool experience when you're here. Now, one of the things they might remind you to do is don't forget to put your sunblock on, kid. Yes, they've told me that a few times, and I've been reapplying quite a bit. And I want to tell you is, don't forget to bring and reapply strong SPF sunblock when you do come here, because we're getting closer and closer to the equator, so the sun is stronger and stronger, and with the reflection off the ocean and stuff like that, you will get burned, okay? So you do need to keep reapplying. I mean, I've been reapplying and I'm still getting red, so you do need to be careful with that, okay? Especially if you're going to be doing like this snorkeling on the reefs, or you're going to go over, if you're in Provo, you flew in, you want to go to the coral garden and go through there. When you're in the water, a little bit of it comes off, a little bit comes off, and so you need to reapply. So if you can get the kind that sticks on, or get the coral safe one and stuff like that, just make sure reapplying, because I've seen a lot of burnt tourists and my face is red. The recipe's kind of okay. I mean, you can see it's nice and pasty white here, but you do got to be careful with that. Another thing I want to tell you to don't forget to bring some good bug spray, because around sunset, the no-see-ums come out and they start eating your legs alive, and the mosquitoes come and suck your blood as well. So do have some really good bug spray when you do come here, because man, it's about 5 o'clock now. We're here going to watch the sunset in a little while, and I'm like, I know it's gonna be sunset, we gotta go because the bugs are eating me. So do bring some of those things. And I guess another don't I should tell you is, don't worry about bringing fancy clothes when you do come here to Turks and Caicos. This is very much a laid back atmosphere, so shorts and t-shirts are the way to go. We actually have a whole video on packing for Turks and Caicos about stuff you should bring. I would say if you are going to come and you want to go to some of the nicer restaurants here, I mean, a nice pair of shorts and a collared shirt for a guy, you're totally fine. Josh would say have a sundress and something like that, you'll be okay. But one thing I will say, if you're coming here with your kids, don't forget to bring a rash guard, one of those like surfing shirts go down the wrist. Bring that for them because of the sun and stuff like that, because you really need to watch out for them with the intensity of the heat when you are here, the intensity of the sun. So my next stone has to go back to that beach, relax, repeat, beach, relax, repeat. Notice it's not beach, relax, party, no. This is not a party place. You'll notice that in the evening time, it kind of slows down quite a bit when you're here. People enjoy all the outdoor activities during the day, whether you're parasailing or going fishing or snorkeling or scuba diving. People are a little worn out by the end of the day with all the activities they have. And the thing is, there's not a lot of bars. Okay, there's not a lot of clubs to go to and stuff like that. And most people end up staying on property at night, so it's not a party place. So it's usually, if you're gonna party, it's gonna be in your room, okay? So you're gonna need to pick up some alcohol and bring it back to your room to do it there, or at the bar at your hotel, because it's not really a big party atmosphere when you are here. Now, I have a few more don'ts to finish off with. One, don't worry about the weather. This place has beautiful weather all year round. You might want to be careful when it is hurricane season between July and November, but unless there's a hurricane coming at that time, usually are pretty okay, so have a heads up for that. The really high season though is December and January, and then like spring break time in April is also kind of a popular time, like early April, late March is also kind of popular, so the prices do go up. But in general, hey, the weather's great all year round, so you'll be fine and happy here no matter when you come. And I mean, one of the best parts is actually watching the sunset or sunrise, depending what island you're on. You could actually get both of them because it is just some of the most gorgeous sunsets when it goes down and it gets all pink and everything like that. Oh my gosh, it is just so beautiful to watch. And one of the, I guess the last note I want to have for you is don't worry too much about your safety when you are here in Turks and Caicos, because this is actually probably the safest island in like the British West Indies and Caribbean and stuff like that. It is pretty safe when you are here. Now, having said that, of course, don't be stupid with your safety. I mean, don't leave, if you're going to rent a car, don't leave anything in there. Don't go on the back roads and stuff like that, you know. Make sure you're locking your stuff up in your hotel like you do anywhere else, okay? But in general, we found it to be quite safe. But the thing is, part of that is also because you're not going out late night, because you don't go out late night here. Remember, nothing good happens after midnight if you're over like 22, okay? So just have a heads up for that one, because in general, we've seen tons of families here, tons of multi-generational families kind of stuff. It has been a really nice time. I know Jocelyn and I actually came here as a couples weekend. It's our first trip away with the kids in 10 years, so it's been a nice, relaxing time. And the first few days, you know, if you know my videos, you know I'm high energy and go, go, go. It took me a little while to get into the beach, relax, repeat, beach, relax, repeat. But when I got into it, I loved it. So I hope you'll love your time here too. It's a really cool place, beautiful turquoise water, islands of Turks and Caicos, for what you should know before you come to Turks and Caicos. Because I'll be honest, this place, the beaches here, are gorgeous. The water, crystal clear turquoise. I mean, it's so beautiful that the turquoise actually reflects back up in the clouds when there are clouds here. I mean, it is just gorgeous here. But the thing is, if you're going to be coming to Turks and Caicos, you might want to know is, hey, Mark, what should I know before I get there so I can get the most out of my visit? And that's what we're going to talk about today. But the first thing I want to talk about is the first thing people go like, Mark, where is Turks and Caicos? Like, isn't that one of those Caribbean islands? There's the islands somewhere down in there. Yes, this is one of the islands down in there. But the thing is, if you want to look at it, if you've got Cuba and kind of Haiti, Hispaniola Island, like Turks and Caicos is just north of those, like kind of between those two and a bit north. Easy to get to from the US. It's a short flight from Atlanta or New York or whatever. And there are a lot of flights to come here, so that's not a problem. But I will want you to know is this is not the Caribbean. This is actually the Atlantic out here. Well, actually, this is Grace Bay, but it's the Atlantic you're in. So it is a bit different than if you're going to like the Caribbean islands, but it's still fantastic in terms of that respect, okay? Now, the second thing people have asked me when I said we're going to Turks and Caicos, they're like, hey, do I need a visa to go there? Look, if you're from the US, Canada, the European Union, things like that, you do not need a visa to come here. You just come here and enjoy. This is a beach and relax visit. Nothing else, just beach, relax, repeat. Beach, relax, repeat. That's what you're doing when you are here. And the thing is if you're looking at the beach stuff you're gonna do here, like we're here on Grace Bay. If you go here, you can go out conch diving. You know the conch shells, you'll see them all over the island. You'll eat them as well. Not the shells, but the mollusk that's inside. You can go diving down for conch and get that to take it home. You can go, I mean, there's parasailing, there's all kinds of tubing, there's all kinds of great water sports you can do here. You wanna go sailing? You can hire guys off the beach to take you out sailing. There's so many cool water things to do here, but probably the most important one and the best one to do is you need to realize that Turks and Caicos has the third largest barrier reef in the world. So this is a fantastic place to go snorkeling, to go scuba diving and things like that, because you can go out there and there's tons of tours that'll do that. You know, you can go with your kids, you can go if you're a big swimmer. If you're not a great swimmer, they'll give you the little buoy kind of thing and stuff like that. So you can see, I mean, my wife and I talked about all the parrotfish we saw and stuff like that. And it was really cool doing the snorkelings on the reef. But the thing is, if you don't want to go out on the reef, if you're here in Providenciales, the capital, if you want to go down to the Coral Garden, it's actually, you don't have to like take a boat out. You just go out and see tons of fish there. There's just tons and tons of outdoor activities when you are here. We were at Iguana Island, yes, with all the iguanas on it, and you see them like fighting each other and stuff like that. We were there as well, and it's really kind of a cool thing. But one thing I want you to know, if you're coming to Turks and Caicos, people say, Mark, how do I get there? Well, there's two ways that most tourists come here. Most tourists actually come on a cruise, and they go to Grand Turk, which is the very eastern part of Turks and Caicos. That's a Turk island, and this is one of the Caicos Islands here where you are in Providenciales. If you're flying in, you're flying into Providenciales, Provo. That's where you're gonna be, and they're kind of far apart. And if you wanna get around to the different islands, you're gonna have to take a ferry or take a flight to go to these different places. So you might wanna consider that when you're looking for your accommodation, where you're gonna stay, because just you're like, oh, let's go to Grand Turks because that's what I read about. Well, yeah, you go to Grand Turks if you're going on a cruise ship. If you just wanna have one flight in here and you don't wanna take one of the puddle jumpers, go into some of the other islands, then you're gonna be here in Provo, okay? And the thing is, when you do come here, there's different ways you can get around, but most of the time you're gonna take a taxi when you are here. But I will tell you, the taxis here in Turks and Caicos, they are expensive. Also, they charge per person, so you might have other people in your taxi as well. And a lot of times the taxi will be like a van kind of thing, so it's no real big deal. But do have a heads up, because the taxi prices can really kick up your bills really quickly. So what you might want to look at, if you're going to do a lot of driving around one specific island, maybe rent a car for that day. Even for a day can save you a lot of money versus taking a bunch of taxis, especially if you're a group of 2 or 3 or 4 people. It can really save you some money that way. Now, when you are driving around, one thing you should know is they drive on the left here. This is an old British colony, and they still have the driving on the left. So do be careful. So make sure you're staying on the left when you're there. And what can throw you off is you'll see cars here that have the US version of the cars, with the steering wheel on the left, and then you obviously the British ones with the steering wheels on the right, and it can throw people off. So just remember, you drive on the left here. And that's also important because a lot of the accommodations will actually let you have a bike and you can ride around real easily. But I will tell you, what I recommend if you're gonna be taking a bike or renting bikes or scooters and stuff like that, I do recommend you kind of stay on the resort streets versus that big highway, especially here by Provo, because there's a lot of traffic there and it can get a little dangerous. So I do recommend, if you're gonna be having the bikes, stay on the tourist side of stuff instead of like going on the big roads, because it can be a bit scary. So make sure, even if on your bike or you're driving, stay on the left when you go, okay? Now, another thing people like to ask when they're going different places is, hey, Mark, what language do they speak in Turks? Well, in Turks and Caicos, they speak English, okay? So you'll be fine. If you're an English speaker, you'll be okay. You speak English. I mean, everyone speaks English here, no problem. You will hear kind of a little Creole here as well, so that might be another influence, but everyone will speak English to you, so just pay attention. You'll be just fine with that, so you don't have to worry about the English language. That's why this is so easy. It's close to the US, they speak English. Oh, also, if you look at money, they use the US dollar here. Yes, I know this is a former British colony, but they actually use the US dollar when you are here, so the ATMs spit out US dollars. So I recommend bringing some cash when you come, okay? But I will say, a lot of places do take credit cards. I haven't seen a lot of taxis though, so that's where you really need the cash, is to pay the taxes and stuff like that. But in general, most of the places I've seen will take Visa and MasterCard. Some do take American Express as well, so you will have that. So that's a nice, helpful thing, because you're gonna need that credit card, because coming to Turks and Caicos is extremely expensive. I'm not saying it's a little expensive, it is expensive. Your typical entree dinner at a lot of the places we've gone to, about $40 for the entree. The lunch special might be about 20 bucks, 18 to 20 bucks. I know if you're coming from like a New York City and stuff like that, you're like, well, that's not too big of a difference. Well, the thing is that this is island prices here. It is very expensive when you come here. The thing is, though, the reason that is because Turks and Caicos, they're islands, so everything has to be brought in, and there's no really big port. I mean, I know the cruise ships come in at Grand Turk, but in general, you can't get a lot of stuff here very cheaply, so the prices are quite elevated. So what I recommend, a lot of people, they'll either get an Airbnb or they'll get like an apartment in a hotel kind of thing, or a suite that has its own kitchen or kitchenette. Use that to your advantage. I mean, there's an IGA here if you want to go to. There's all kinds of grocery stores and mini markets you can go to. Now, I'm not going to say those are cheap either, because those can be expensive too, but it is cheaper than going out to eat all the time, and it can really save you a lot of money in your pocket. Now, some other things that are going to be expensive when you're here is the accommodation. Now, if you're looking at where you're going to stay, there are resorts here. The all-inclusive kind of stuff like beaches, they have that. There's Club Med, which is actually right over there. We're at the Oasis, which is just a normal hotel suite kind of thing. All of them really pretty much be the same kind of thing. You got your room, you might have a little like sitting area or something like that if you get the suites, and then there's a pool on property, and they'll have transportation to the beach. Okay, some of them will have their own little beach location. Like behind me, you've got the Oasis beach guys there. They'll get you, your beach towels and stuff like that. Use your own resort or your own accommodations beach place, because it can save you money as well, because there's no reason to pay for stuff if you don't need to when you're here. Now, another thing I'll tell you about the accommodation, in terms of the prices, what I would consider probably a $200 accommodation in like a medium-sized US city or a medium-sized European city is going to run you in high season about $500. And the high seasons, January and December, and also April for the spring break travelers, those are going to be your highest, wallet gut punch visits to Turks and Caicos. But I will say, in terms of saving some money, if you're going to be out here on the beach and you're going to sign up for tours and stuff like that, like with the people directly on the beach, like on the sailboards and stuff like that, you can negotiate with them for a lower price, especially if you're going to do like a private tour. I know for us, we went out conch diving and we negotiated a much better price than was initially offered to us by the guys on the beach. Because the thing is here, the people on the beach work on commission. So whatever you do, if you have their name, you give their name, they're going to get a kickback to it. Now that doesn't affect the price you have because you negotiate that or it's a standard fare. That is how they make their money. So do have a heads up when you do get recommendations for stuff, because that can influence some things. But in general, I found that people on the beach that recommend you stuff, they're good people. Nothing we've done has been bad here. I mean, everyone's hooked us up really nicely. I know when we went conch diving, the guys on the beach down here hooked us up with a captain. He took us out with a diver. We went down. I got to go down and dive stuff. They cleaned out the conch for us. They gave us the conch. We got to keep the shells, but also they gave us the conch and cleaned it for us. So we actually made ceviche with conch in our hotel. I mean, it's been a really cool thing. And the people here are nice, but I will say, because of all the tourism, they kind of have that tourism shield, like I will do the tourism stuff, but once you talk to them, that's when they really open up and become friendly and fun and stuff like that. And if you go out of the way to learn more about them, you get a lot of, hey, respect kind of stuff, which is really kind of a cool thing here. Now, when you are in your hotels, you're going other places, a lot of people want to know, it's like, Mark, will I have good Wi-Fi when I'm there? Or how will my cell service be? Look, we've been around, Providenciales, Provo, we've gone to Iguana Island, we've gone out down that way, we've seen some of the other islands. I've had my 4G connection all the time. Now, I could watch a YouTube video just fine, but sometimes it would lag a little bit occasionally when I was like out on the sea. So you'll be fine with that in terms of your cell phone coverage. At the resorts, Wi-Fi with all the places we've gone, we've seen it on the beach as well, that sometimes have Wi-Fi on the beach too. Those have all been okay, so we could stream stuff onto Netflix or Hulu or whatever, no big deal that way, so that's been pretty cool. So you'll be okay staying connected when you're on the beach. So you might want to play, Words with Friends while you're laying on the beach, looking at the beach saying, yes, you beat me at this game, but I beat you with this view, okay? So you do have that. Now, the next thing people like to talk about is the food when they are here. And I'll be honest, the biggest, most important food you're gonna have when you are here in Turks and Caicos is, like I said before, conch. Those conch shells that you'll step on and they'll hurt you, so be careful. The conch inside is wonderful. It's a mollusk you'll have. And what's cool is they serve it in all kinds of different ways, but probably my personal favorite is what's called cracked conch. And that cracked conch, what they do is they'll take the conch out and they clean it and all those things. They'll cut it like into strips, lightly batter it and fry it. Oh my gosh, that is my favorite. You'll get that a lot of places, okay? But probably the conch you'll see the most is actually conch fritters, which is basically like a hush puppy with conch kind of put into the side of the hush puppy. So they'll put it with some breading and stuff like that and then fry it up. That's good, but nowhere near as good as cracked conch, in my opinion. But you will see the conch fritters more places. Another thing you'll see is conch salad. We'll have a salad with a little conch on it. They'll cut up the conch and have it on there. Conch ceviche, that's what we've made it in our hotel because we caught our own conch. They clean it for us. We dice it up, put it with some lime juice, lemon, some orange, little onion, all the peppers that are here, the Scotch bonnet peppers. Oh my God, fantastic to have. So definitely have conch when you're here. Another thing you want to have is the lobster. Now the lobster here, it is to die for. But the thing is, I'm here out of season. So if you're here basically April through kind of August, you're not going to get the lobster. Any other time of the year, when most of the tourists come is outside those times, you'll be able to have that. And the lobster is awesome. But once the season's over, it might be on the menu, but you're not going to get it, okay? Now, obviously, when you're on a set of islands like this, other seafood is going to be very abundant as well. So the fish here has been great. We've had saltfish, we've had grouper, we've had snapper. It's just been a seafood delight. And what I found is the food here is really good. You pay a lot for the food. I'm not gonna lie to you for that. But honestly, I've never been disappointed with the food. So though the price might have been high, I'm like, yeah, that was worth it. I had ravioli with conch on top and all kinds of stuff. It's really wonderful. So you will eat well. Now, for those of you that get tired of seafood quickly, don't worry, they have plenty of other food to have when you are here. Remember, this is a former British colony, so you might have, it's not really nuts. You'll have a conch patty. Yeah, you'll have maybe one of those or some other patties are out there. Beef burgers, I've seen those tons of menus here. Obviously pizza for kids because a lot of the people bring their families here. So there's a lot of food options, but honestly, save some money, go to the store and have some food at your accommodation if you're not all-inclusive, because that can save some big bucks for you. But man, the seafood here, that's what you're going for. And in terms of what you're going to drink here, you can drink the water here. Now, the tap water doesn't taste very good, but you can drink it. It's okay. The two big kind of drinks you'll have, like adult drinks, there's Turks Head beer. Okay, there's lager, amber, they got IPA. There's a lot of different ones they have. You can try those. Our friend Donna, who comes here often, she's like, please just go and drink Turks Head for me. She loves it. It's pretty good beer in general, I'd say. And then there's rum, and rum's the big thing here, and you're gonna have it in tons of different mixed drinks. So imagine fruity mixed drinks with rum. You have plenty of those when you are here. So talking about eating and drinking when you are in Turks and Caicos kind of leads into the service aspect of the country. Remember, you're on an island and you need to think island time. Everything takes a bit longer, whether it's getting your order put in, getting your drink, getting your bill, getting the tour set up, things like that. You gotta have patience when you are here with the service. I find the people friendly, like I said before, but just know you gotta be a little bit slower with that service. Just have that in your mind, okay? And another thing I should talk about with the service is you actually do tip here. Now, some places will already put like a 10% service charge on there, so there is that. But here you tip about 15 to 20% like in the US. But I do say is look on that bill to see if that service charge is on there. Also, don't think that the price that you see in the restaurant or on the price tag on your thing is the end price. They also have sales tax here as well in Turks and Caicos, so that will kick up the price as well. Oh, another thing I probably should talk about, if you're gonna be here, some people wanna know, what are the plugs like here? The plugs in your hotel and all around, they're like the US plugs, you know, the two prongs like this, with the dot in the bottom. They have that. That's what you're gonna see. So you will have that. We haven't had any problems with electricity while we've been here, so that's been a nice cool thing. We can charge our devices, no big deal. But if you're coming from Europe or you're coming from Australia, you will need to get that converter to switch to like the US plugs. And when you are coming here, no matter where you're gonna come, you might wanna know is what you should pack. We have a big in-depth video on what to pack for Turks and Caicos, but basically really good bug spray, because the bugs are the no-see-ums, the mosquitoes, the no-see-ums that are here, they will get you, they will eat you alive. Good sunblock is always important, but basically this is a very relaxed thing. So it's like resort wear. So shorts and t-shirt and flip-flops, you'll be fine. I will say is make sure if you're gonna go to like Iguana Island or other places, wear your flip-flops. Don't just walk on the beach without your shoes on. If you're gonna go into like the brambles and stuff or the overgrowth, because there they actually do have some sand spurs, which can be a little painful, especially for the little ones. So make sure you have some wear. For the little ones as well, I'd always have like a rash guard. Just do that because the sun here is very strong. Now in terms of some other safety things I want to talk about at the beach, you know, the sun we already mentioned, but if you're gonna go diving or snorkeling or anything like that, well, diving for conch, make sure you tell the person you're diving with your level of ability. If you never snorkeled before, let them know, because they'll help you. They want to help you out. But if you know what you're doing, I mean, we were diving down 14 to 20 feet to go grab our conch shells. Jocelyn couldn't get all the way down at some parts of it and came up, and so she got worried. And they're like, hey, it's okay, we'll help you out. I know we were on when we did our snorkeling tour, there was a kid that was having a little trouble. Guy put him on a little ring and then floated him around to see stuff. So there are those things. In terms of in the town, usually at night you're not going out. This is not a big party location, so there's not like bars and clubs you're really gonna go to. Most of your night entertainment is gonna be on property, so grab some of that rum and some Turks Head and have it, you know, on your balcony looking over the beach and stuff like that when you're here. That's the best way to go. If you are gonna rent a car and you're gonna go down some of the back roads, that might be where you wanna take care and be careful with. Don't leave anything of value in your cars and stuff like that, just like anywhere else you go. And use your usual travel sense when you are here. That'll help you out quite a bit. And one little last safety thing I want to talk about is when you're on the beach, you'll see potcakes. If you're not sure what potcakes are, those are just the stray dogs you'll see on the beach. Now, some beaches there aren't any on there, but if you're like at the Conch shack, you'll see a lot. And there are a lot of stray dogs here in Turks and Caicos. But basically, I've seen most of them kind of like really chill. I mean, it's just the island vibe they have, but they have been chill. And do be careful, because if you fall in love with one, there's actually an association here that you can send them a picture of your dog at the beach you're in, send it to them. They will go get the dog, clean them up, deworm them, do all the stuff, so you could take it home with you at the end of your vacation. So be careful. If your wife really loves dogs, she's gonna try to talk you into taking one home. But you gotta be strong if you don't wanna take one, okay? Just words of advice from a friend, okay? Anyway, we've really enjoyed our time here in Turks and Caicos, because it really is a beach and relaxed kind of place. If you're looking for like parties and all night party stuff and things like that, I'm gonna say Turks and Caicos isn't for you. If you wanna go enjoy the beach, enjoy the sun, enjoy relaxing and sitting back and having some great food, then Turks and Caicos is definitely for you. And today what we have for you are 10 things that shock tourists when they come here to Turks and Caicos. And you can't believe how many great shocks there are here, from the turquoise water to the people to the food. There's all kinds of great stuff. But we got to start with the first conch? Yes, the first conch. The first shock when you come here is how much conch will play a role in your visit to Turks and Caicos. I mean, conch, if you're not sure what conch is, you know those really cool shells you see all over the place, and they'll sell them all over the island here, and it'll be in all the menus you're gonna have here? Conch, conch, and more conch. And also the number of conch puns you'll actually hear. It's unconscionable that I can't make more conch puns when I do this. But the thing is, the shock about all the conch stuff is you can actually go dive for your own conch shell, and it means you get your own souvenir and your own dinner, because it is that cool to do. So you might go down, snorkel down, you know, maybe 10, 15 feet, go snorkel down, grab one. It looks like a dirty rock, and you get off and they clean it off, and you're like, oh my God, this is gorgeous. But the thing that'll shock you again with that conch is not just you can dive for it, but when they go down and you get it and then they clean it out for you, and they'll crack it, and this thing will come out, the mollusk, the actual conch part that you eat, they'll take it out and they'll clean it for you, and they'll pull out this like clear greenish like little thing, like, here, you want to eat this? And most people are like, no. It's like, no, it's an aphrodisiac, you should have it. And so you eat that, and they're like, you're gonna have a good time tonight, guys. Ha 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 ha. But it's so funny how much conch you will see when you are here. The thing is, you will eat a lot of it, whether it is, you know, cracked conch or conch fritters, or, you know, conch patties or conch salad or conch ceviche. I mean, it's just such a big part of the country here and the culture here that you'll be shocked like how much conch there really is. I mean, it's even on the flag when you're here. So that's the first thing, how much conch you can do when you are here. Now, the second thing that shocks tourists when they come here is there really isn't anything else to do except the beach here in Turks and Caicos. I mean, a lot of people, when they go different countries, they're like, oh, I want to hit up some of the museums, I'm going to some culture sites, and then I'll hit the beach or some activities or some things. No, not here. This is a beach, relax, repeat kind of place. So if you're looking for a lot of hustle bustle, doing lots of different things aside from the beach, you're going to be kind of shocked that there's not much else than that, okay? And that leads us into the third thing that's going to shock you, is that, hey, there's nothing else to do aside go to the beach. I mean, the beach and all the water stuff that's here is just amazing. I mean, look at this turquoise water. It's gorgeous. Watching the sunset on it, it's gorgeous. You want to do stuff out here. Maybe you want to go snorkeling. They have one of the biggest barrier reefs in the world here. You can go snorkeling there. You can go scuba diving. You go to the coral gardens to see the fish there. I mean, right out here where those people are there, we go out there. There's fish swimming around. I mean, it's just really amazing when you're here. And there's other things you can do. There's parasailing, there's fishing, there's all kinds of cool water-based stuff. So if you want a beach, relax, repeat vacation, this place is shockingly perfect just for you. And the fourth thing that shocks some tourists when they come here is actually when you're on the beach, sometimes you actually get to see some of the dolphins, but there's one specific dolphin that the locals love more than all the other dolphins, and that's Jojo. I mean, he gets his own postcards here, and he's gotten kind of lazy over the years, but you'll see him sometimes swimming around and stuff like that. So that's a nice little shock. So, oh, I can see some other like bigger things aside from little fish. Yeah, you can. And I guess that should lead into our next shock when we're here, is actually you also see these things called potcakes. And they're not a thing, they're just the stray dogs that are here. The thing is though, you won't see them so much if you're at a resort beach and stuff like that, because they've kind of shooed them away. If you're like at the conch shack and down there, you'll see a lot of these dogs walking on the beach. And you might be shocked that if you fall in love with one, there's actually an organization here that will help you figure out how to take that dog back home. And what's cool, if you want to volunteer for the potcakes, there's actually programs here where you can go walk the dogs, you can go bathe the dogs. Heck, you can take them to the beach. It's kind of shocking if you're missing, I mean, I'm missing my brig back home. I know Jocelyn is as well. We went in and played with their puppies and did some stuff with the dogs on the beaches and stuff like that. You can actually do that, which is kind of shocking. Like, oh, I can get my dog fixed as well. So I guess there is more than the beach. The beach stuff and then your dog fix. We got that. Now, the next thing that shocks tourists when they come here is actually the sticker shock. I'm not gonna lie to you, Turks and Caicos is not a cheap place to come. The restaurants, the grocery store, the accommodation, the tours. I mean, it is a very pricey vacation to come here. Now, I will say one thing. I paid very high prices for the stuff here, but I'm very happy with what I'm getting. So, thinking about it, like a typical restaurant dinner entree is about $40. And so there is that, and like the taxi can be expensive, but I'll talk about the taxi shocks in a bit. but it is just a really kind of expensive place to go. So you do need to know that, okay? And also, my next shock for you is don't think that the price you see is the actual final price. Now, this goes many different ways, okay? One thing is if you go to a store, you have the price tag, but you have to realize is they add the sales tax on later, so that's gonna increase the price. If you go to a restaurant, you also tip 15 to 20%, so that's gonna raise the price. Though sometimes they put the service charge already on there, so make sure you look and see if they have. But also, you might be negotiating. Some of the people you might meet on the beach might offer you tours or a boat ride or something like that, and they'll give you a price. A lot of times you can negotiate those down. I mean, we did that for our Conch tour, and it was a fantastic experience. We got, a lot less than what they originally started at, because the people on the beach, they get a commission on the sales, so that's why they're approaching certain stuff. But overall, all the tours we've done have been really cool, and again, like I said, prices are high, but they're well worth it. But one of the things that might also shock you about the prices is they actually use the US dollar here in Turks and Caicos, which is really nice. So you hit up the ATM, it just spits out dollars for you. The prices are all in dollars, so there's no trying to do the conversion, or it's not like, oh, we have the Turks and Caicos money and the US money, and you can use both. No, it's just the US dollar here. Also, this is the British West Indies, so they actually speak English here as well, which can be shockingly easy for a lot of tourists, especially if you're coming from the US. I mean, you don't have to change the language, and you can just use the money in your wallet. That's fantastic. I will warn you though, credit cards are accepted at restaurants and hotels and stuff like that, but the taxis, maybe not. And I think I should probably tell you the shock about the taxis. And I think I'll put a lot of like driving shocks in there while we're at it. And the first shock you might have is when you get in that taxi and you ask the price. Now, I talked about the sticker price, but the shock that sometimes comes with the taxis here is they might give you the price per person for that trip, because the taxis, they are expensive and they might be per person. And so also you might be shocked that there might be other people in the taxi when you're going by, because since you're paying per person, you've got that one seat and they can, use the other seats out there. Now, most of the time that's not really an issue. The only time we've had that a lot is when we're going back and forth to the airport. There might be multiple people in there. So there is that. Another thing that might shock you when you're driving here is actually they drive on the left here. I mean, it's the former British colony, so they drive on the left. And the thing is, what makes it tough is sometimes the cars will have the English-British system where the driver is on the right side, but then sometimes they have US cars where the driver's on the left side, which can really throw you off. So just remember, if you're driving or doing a scooter ride or on a bike, make sure you stay on the left when you're on the road, okay? Because it can be a little dangerous with the driving here. And also, the speed bumps here will break your back, so definitely slow down for those. Otherwise, you'll get a surprise of whacking your head on the top of the car and coming back down. So what you might do with those high prices and the taxiing experience, things like that, you might want to look at renting a car when you do come here. And if you're going to be driving a lot around an island, one specific island, you could just rent it for one day, and it will be a lot cheaper than taking taxis all around. But we found that you don't really need to do it so much, because a lot of times your accommodation, your hotel, your resort and stuff like that, they'll have their own pool, they'll have a kitchenette there. You can just hit up the grocery store nearby or the mini market, bring stuff back there, and you're okay on one trip. And again, all you're doing is hitting the beach. And what's cool is the beach stuff is a lot of times if you book with your people on the beach, they're like, oh, come back here and we'll meet you here. Or they'll meet you at your hotel anyway. So you don't really need that rental car every day. So do check that out. And the thing is, just to get around all those things, you might just look at it staying an all-inclusive here, because they'll pick you up and bring you to the all-inclusive and everything will be taken care of. So you really don't have to go out and explore too much when you are here. Now, I'm not saying don't go explore, because there's some awesome stuff here. We went to Iguana Island and we got to see iguanas fighting and stuff like that, and the water and the snorkeling tours and all this stuff. There's a lot of great things to do. Learn how to sail or do some kayaking or paddleboarding. Your resort or your all-inclusive or just your normal resort, they can help set you up with those things. So go and do some of those things so you don't have to really think about the transport, because also there's no public transportation here. So might as well just chill out your resort and have everything based out of there. And my last shock for you when you come to Turks and Caicos is you gotta remember, beach, relax, repeat. Everybody is on island time when you're here. If you're used to the hustle and bustle and go, 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 you're gonna need to adjust your attitude and your time frame to Turks and Caicos, okay? Because service, getting your drink, getting your ordering, getting your bill, getting your taxi, getting your tour set up, all these things, it just goes a little bit slower. The passport control takes quite a bit of time when you're coming into the country. So, I have that in our don'ts, actually. It's one of our first don'ts of TCI is don't dawdle on your plane, because it just takes more time. Okay, so just if you come with the attitude like, hey, I'm hitting island time. It's all about beach, relax, repeat. You're gonna be just fine. And the thing is, with all this relaxation and all the really great food when you're here, and it's not just conch, by the way. If you're here in season, the lobster's great. You have all kinds of great seafood you can have when you're here. It's very seafood based and very wonderful, but you can't believe how much you really will enjoy your time here in Turks and Caicos. I hope this little fun little culture shock one can help you enjoy Turks and Caicos a little bit more. Mark
and Jocelyn, and we're in Turks and Caicos, and we wanted to talk to you about what to pack when you're coming to Turks and Caicos.
And to make it easier, we have our beach bag, a very lightweight beach bag with a few of the things in here.
So I got this bag a couple trips ago in Belize, and it's really, really thin, and it's great because I can pack it in my suitcase and it takes up very little space, which you know is really important to me because I don't like to pack heavy.
And one thing you should know is when you come here to Turks and Caicos, this is a beach vacation kind of place. So having a lightweight beach bag is a lifesaver for all those stuff to have.
Just taking your towels down to the beach and things like that as needed, it's great.
But as we like to do things in a fun way, we have our bag. And so here are some of the things you should bring and pack when you come here.
Okay,
Jocelyn,
ready?
bring it first.
Dun, 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 dun. First, obviously, you can't go to the beach without some Havaianas or just flip-flops.
Yeah. And the thing is, if you're going to be going to like Iguana Island or something like that, there's a lot of sand spurs there that'll get you. And you may think, I'm just going to walk on the beach barefoot. And you can do the beaches like the water.
Fine.
It'll be fine. But if you're going to go where there's any scruff, there is those sand spurs. So definitely.
Absolutely need to have some flip-flops. Mine yesterday after we got out of there were covered in sand spurs. So that's a big definite. All right, husband.
Number 2, water shoes. Here's the thing, if you're going to be adventuring around, maybe you're going to do some diving, or maybe you're going to just be walking on the beach and you got little kids, these water shoes, I mean, aqua socks, water shoes, there's so many different words for them. Bring a pair of these because it's going to save your feet when you're walking around. Because there's a big coral reef here. I mean, you don't walk on the coral reef, but just in case, you want to have that. But also, there's a ton of what kind of shells?
Conch shells.
And those spiky things can hurt. So having these strong bottoms when you're there can really make a big difference.
It is helpful, isn't it?
Yes. Next up.
All right. Dun, 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 dun. Oh boy, how much do you need some sunscreen here? This is SPF 50. I think we needed more. Can you tell?
Yeah, and you need to reapply it often. If you can get the coral reef safe kind of stuff, that would be better because the 3rd largest coral reef in the world is here, and you're going to go diving there. If you can scuba there. It is really cool. Or maybe if you don't want to like go out on the boats out to the reef, you can go to the Coral Garden here in Provo and do that. But you got to have the sunscreen.
Absolutely got to have it, and got to have a lot of it because we've gone through this entire container in what, 4 days?
4 days on the beach. And the thing is, all these things you can get here too, but the prices here,
really, really expensive.
Like ridiculous expensive. So make sure you have some of these.
We're talking 3 and 4 times what they are in the States. So definitely be prepared with that.
I think there's another bottle in there too.
Maybe, but dun, dun, dun.
Yes. Have a hat. If you're going to go to the beach, whether male or female, make sure you have a hat to take with you because that sun will beat down. And if you're maybe hairily, follically challenged like I am, you will get burned on the top of your head as well. So do bring a hat, especially got little kids. If you get the ones for the back to protect their neck too, that would be a great thing to bring.
Yes.
Next up.
So because the bugs are actually running by my face about now, you should really bring some bug spray. There are
the no-see-ums.
No-see-ums.
The no-see-ums are the worst. They got me when it gets to be sun starts going down. My legs start getting eaten alive. So you got the no-see-ums.
Attracts bugs. That's probably why you married me. But anywho,
exactly.
There are a lot of little critters out there, and there are mosquitoes. They're not tons of mosquitoes. The worst one is the no-see-ums, but you definitely want to bring yourself some bug spray.
Yeah, so that was another thing. Next up.
Ziploc bags. You can bring any old kind of Ziploc plastic bag, but you definitely want to bring at least 1 or 2 for those things that you don't want to get wet, even if it's just a book. But you know, you can put your
phone in there, your wallet in there,
Kindle, your wallet,
camera,
anything that you're toting around that you don't want to get wet. definitely bring at least a couple of these along with you.
And the thing is you're going to need these, whether it's at the beach or if you're going to be going on one of the many boat trips you can do here. You'll probably want to have these to put these in your bag or keep them in here.
Things may not get submerged, but definitely things will get damp. So to keep that off, it's really important, right?
Yeah.
And speaking of keeping things damp,
I don't know how that goes with that one, but okay.
It doesn't. It's the opposite. Definitely get yourself an underwater camera. This thing has been so cool. We've taken out on so many trips with us, and I'm sure that, Mark, you have seen some of the stuff Mark puts in.
I'll put some of it on here right now. But I'll be honest, these things are great because since you're going to be doing the diving, because here you can dive for the conch shells yourself. Like we were diving down 14 feet, 20 feet. And so you can dive your adventure down there with the other people. It's a really kind of a cool thing. So definitely bring an underwater camera. Also, if you have an extra battery, bring an extra battery too, because these things tend to, when you're filming underwater for some reason, it really eats up the battery a lot. And you'll see a lot of cool stuff like
they're parrotfish, and we saw 1,000 different kinds of really cool fish and fan corals and all sorts of stuff. But along with that, it's not a bad idea to throw in an extra battery pack into that Ziploc bag too, if you're going to be doing tons of filming, right?
Yeah, filming and picture taking and all that kind of stuff. And the thing is you're going to be at the beach. There's no plugs there, but there is a lot of, I actually have seen a lot of Wi-Fi on the beach. So you might eat through your phone battery. So it might be a good idea to pack one of those too, so you can take it with you. Now, some stuff that's not in our magic bag that we should bring. We should probably talk about clothes when you're here.
Yeah, so it's hot. It's
always hot. It's beautiful weather here all year round.
Kind of perfect, except during hurricane season. But my guess is you're not going to visit during hurricane season. I brought like a couple, 3 really lightweight dresses. But generally speaking, we've lived in our swimsuits and maybe a cover up or a long sleeve.
I don't know.
I always bring, no matter where I'm at, if I'm going to a beach, I always have a long sleeve white button down that I can throw on. Just because when you get hot and it'll keep the sun off of you, and that's my go-to, right?
Yeah, and the thing is think more like resort wear. I mean, you could just do your swim trunks and t-shirt and go around. You'll be fine here.
At most places.
Most places. But if you want to go to one of the nicer restaurants, because there are some nice ones here, you don't have to be all fancy, but...
Well, men should probably have like a polo shirt at least, like something with a collar. This kind of dress is fine, just a light cotton dress or something. You don't have to go overboard because it's a beach, right?
Yeah, and you don't need it like for the men, like you get just one collared shirt with a nice pair of shorts, you'll be able to get them pretty much anywhere. It's not going to be a problem.
Yeah.
So
I think that's it for clothing, right? I mean, I always have my cutoff shorts and a couple of t-shirts, and you'll probably want to buy a couple of t-shirts here. We actually saw some really cool ones while we've been here. So, you'll buy those things, but
I guess otherwise, since Turks and Caicos is pretty expensive, I would recommend packing a few snacks to bring with you, because like a typical entree at dinner might be $40, lunch might be about $20, and you can go to the grocery stores here, but we are on an island, so the prices are a lot higher than you expect at home.
Oh my gosh. What would have cost me maybe $50 at home in groceries cost us $135 the other day. So be aware that prices for food are definitely higher, and we're definitely spending more on dinners and lunches. Lunches are costing us what dinners typically do. So,
yeah. But the food's been great. So the conch and the lobster, there's
absolutely
plenty of great food. It's worth it. I'm not upset with the price we paid because it's been so good.
The quality and the service and everything is up to the prices. It's a lot.
Yeah, so maybe pack some snacks. Like we brought a bunch of granola bars and kind bars and stuff like that. Also, you can bring some alcohol in the country. So you might like we brought a bottle of wine with us, so we could have a nice romantic stay here, because the kids aren't with us for our first trip in 10 years without the kids, 12 years without the kids.
Yeah.
So we're here with this. That's been very nice. Anything else? What else should we have in pack? Your patience, because it is island time here, so you need to have a little more patience when you are here. But it's not that bad. But that is one thing you should know. Also, pack your U.S. dollars. They use the U.S. dollar here. There are ATMs, but I haven't seen a lot of them around, so do bring the cash with you when you come here.
Yes.
So you do have some cash with you, but in general, your Visa, MasterCard, and most places took American Express too. They've been fine like that, so you pack like that. Anything else we can think of?
I don't think so. I think that, just bring extra sunscreen. As the sun beats down on me with yesterday's sun still on my skin.
We went snorkeling for half a day, then came back and then went conch diving all afternoon. So we reapply, but it does wash off. So do be careful with that.
Yeah. So
one more thing.
Maybe having.
We forgot. Since the kids aren't here, we forgot to talk about what to bring for your kids. I would say bring one of those, get the rash guard shirt for the kids.
That'd be a really good idea.
Yeah, because of all the sun and everything like that, that's a must for the kids.
Yep.
Also, I would bring like some kind of beach toy, like maybe a little soccer ball or a little football or just the pail and bucket stuff.
Yep.
So they have that, because the thing is,
You can buy them here.
you can buy them here, but it's
You're just
expensive.
going to pay for it.
Yeah, and Turks and Caicos is a beach. You beach and relax, and that's what you do.
That's all there is.
And that's it. So if you got kids coming, you want to bring some stuff. So maybe throw in some Uno cards as well.
Oh, yeah.
So we have some family type stuff.
We're good with that. We always have our Uno card.
Hey, you know us, Uno. Always, man. I mean, make tons of friends around the world for that. But so I think that got some kid stuff in there. Anything else?
Not too much. Well, no, I did want to say sunscreen. It wouldn't be bad if you just brought a ton of waterproof or water-resistant sunscreen. Also, ladies, water-resistant mascara.
Yes. Yes, that's true. And today what we're going to talk about is how you can make your money go farther when you come here to the Caribbean. And I think one of the things you need to realize, when people come to the Caribbean, they think, I've got to go to an all-inclusive resort. I've got to stay at an all-inclusive resort. That's the only way to do things. Well, honestly, budget-wise, all-inclusive resorts might not be your best bet, because if you're not going to drink a lot, you're not going to eat a lot, it might not be worth it to pay that price premium to stay in those places. Now, if you're going to drink and eat like crazy and just lay around, then yes, it could be a better bet. But honestly, you should do your research and see if it's really worth it. I know for us, we were in Jamaica and we got an all-inclusive, but we got the one that did not include the food and drink. So therefore we just had the resort space, and then we went out into the city and went and ate that way. And that made it much more economical for us. So do your research beforehand on those all-inclusive you're going to go to, because sometimes that's one budget thing you don't realize can really blow up your budget, okay? Now, another thing I think is important is when you're packing to come here, you can save yourself a lot of money if you bring your snorkel, your goggles, your water shoes, your sunblock, your bug spray. Bringing those things can save you a ton, because you're going to need your water shoes, your bug spray, your sunblock, your hat. You're going to need that when you come here. And yes, you can buy all those things here. It's not a problem. But if you're looking to get your Coppertone 50 sunblock, that's like $12.50 at Walgreens back home, it could be $30, $40 here in the Dominican Republic or Jamaica. So sometimes just budget-wise, it might be good to just have that stuff and bring it with you to save money that way. Because getting those things at your resorts, whew, it can be a bit high, okay? Now, another thing you can look at doing in order to help your budget is really be open to the days you fly to the Caribbean, because if you fly in on a weekend, the prices are really high. Because you're coming here to the Dominican Republic on the weekends. People fly from the U.S. just to spend the weekend here, and that drives up those prices for Friday flights, Saturday flights, going back home on Sunday flights. Look at alternate dates. If you can go, maybe go Tuesday to Tuesday, and that could save you quite a bit of money on the flights, because flying to the Caribbean is sometimes the same price or more than doing a flight from the US to Europe, okay? So that can be a really big impact on your budget. Now, I know I kind of mentioned this earlier when I was talking about the all-inclusives, but honestly, another way you can save money is just eating where the locals eat. Because if you're going to Belize, if you're going to Turks and Caicos, you're going places, if you see where the locals are going and eat where they eat, it's going to be a lot more affordable, because the locals don't make, European salaries or North American salaries. They're making Caribbean salaries, which are significantly lower. So they can afford to go to those restaurants where the tourists go, but they still want to eat good local food. So if you see where the locals are going and go eat with them, you can save a lot of money. That's how we really got a lot of bang for a buck in Jamaica and Turks and Caicos when we were there, because that really helped the money go a lot farther, okay? Another budget thing you don't really think of when it's coming here is don't forget to bring cash. Because when you're here, you're going to tip a lot. And the thing is, I'd say bring cash, but bring lots of singles and lots of fives. Because when you want to tip people, $1 here, $5 there, it's fine. But all you have are 20s, that can get a little expensive tipping, right? So have those singles, whether you're tipping the busboy, you're tipping the bellhop, or you're tipping your bartenders, even at all-inclusives, putting an extra $1 here or there does make a difference to help things out and maybe make your drink a little bit stronger, let's say. Because you're going to take out money, okay? ATMs are all over the Caribbean. I mean, most of the time they're going to be in the banks, so make sure that you look for the ones in the banks. Your resorts will probably have them in the resorts as well. But one thing I want to tell you is, if you're going to be taking out money, that's going to have fees. You're going to lose money there. Also, the exchange rate is not going to be in your favor. So I've seen it where actually some of the exchange rates they're offering, the conversions, we're talking like 20% different than the actual official exchange rate. So already having those dollars with you when you come here can make a big difference. If you have those singles, you have those fives where you can tip people and make things a lot easier, so you're saving money on your tipping because you're not over tipping with 10s and 20s because you don't have those smaller bills. You have those smaller bills already with you, okay? But what are some more budget tips? Let's go to Aruba to continue on. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is renting a car versus doing tours. Now, when you come to the Caribbean, there's all kinds of tours you can do, right? You can go out to, see the Iguana Island in Turks and Caicos. You can go snorkeling in lots of places. You can go diving. You can go on hikes. You can go on Jeep tours. There's all kinds of tours you can do. The thing is, if it's one person, then probably the tour might be cheaper than renting a car. But for some of them, like here in Aruba, we have 4 of us. So it was, we could rent a car for $65 plus insurance a day. So that was like $80 a day, right? We could do that and drive all around the island. Or we could do the Jeep tour at $60 per person. $240 for the tour, or $85 to rent a car and do it on our own. And so that's another way you can save money, okay? Now the thing is though, you have to compare the prices. Is it going to be cheaper to rent the car? Also, another thing with renting the car, you might want to look at our next tip for you, and that is, weighing renting a car, using taxis or drivers, or if you want to use public transportation. Now, I know everybody always says for budget options, do public transportation, it's going to be the cheapest option. Yeah, a lot of times it is. But the thing is not every Caribbean island has a bus system to take you around, okay? So you might have to use drivers. You might need to rent a car. What I say to you is look at where you're staying. Does it pay off to have your own car? Do you need to have your own car? Or maybe do you only need your own car for a couple days? So for example, here in Aruba, they have buses that go everywhere. So public transportation was fine. And we only rented a car for a couple days to go out and explore the island. So instead of 7 days of renting a car, we only had 2. And that saved us a lot of money. I know we're going to the Cayman Islands pretty soon, right? And the thing is, Cayman Islands, there's buses that go around, we can do that, but we want to explore, all the islands, so we need to rent a car. But I don't need it for 7 days. We're going to rent it for 1 or 2 days, go explore those 2 days the islands. The other days, we're just sitting on beaches like this and enjoying that. So you got to think about that when you're kind of weighing your options. That's why sometimes taking the taxi in from the airport to your hotel or your accommodation and just doing that is cheaper than renting a car, because you're like, wait, you're not going to use the car the first 2 or 3 days because you're on the beach. Maybe it is better to take the taxi and it actually saves you money in the long run. So you kind of have to think about that, especially your family with 4, because you can get 4 people in the car with a taxi driver. That is something to think about. And that's why sometimes what we do is ask your resort if they have a free shuttle, because the thing is, the free shuttle is great because it's free. But some of them have shuttles and then they'll charge you, $30 per person. Well, if it's $30 per person and it's only $40 for a taxi, why don't I find someone else that's going to the airport and try to get together and we can save money and go straight there by ourselves? So something to think about. Now, if you do have a car or you maybe just using the bus, another way you can save money when you're here is use the supermarkets. Look, we're on islands, okay? So everything is going to be expensive here, whether it is food, accommodation, normal toiletries, things like that. It's going to be higher prices. So know that, all right? But if you're here, maybe you don't need to go eat at the restaurant every single time. Maybe you have an apartment that has a kitchenette and you can, cook your lunch there, or make sandwiches or make your breakfast. Hit up the local supermarket. It's going to be a lot cheaper to buy food there and make it your hotel or your apartment than it is, going out to eat. And the thing is, I know a lot of people are like, I'm on vacation, I don't want to cook. That's fine. Just get some prepared stuff, get some snacks. Because even if you're just buying your Doritos and stuff like that out in the supermarkets and bringing it back, that can save you 10 or 15 bucks here and there just on snacks, okay? So you want to think about those things. And the thing is, though, don't expect the supermarkets to be super cheap. They're going to be probably more expensive than back home because, again, we're on islands. But it will be cheaper than getting stuff at the store at the all-inclusive resort. Like, oh my goodness, the prices are a lot higher at the resort than they are off resort. And the thing is, if you have cash, it gives you a chance to negotiate. That's my next tip when you're here. Negotiate and look for deals. Now, when you go to stores in the Caribbean, you're not really negotiating too much. You're probably not. There's a price tag you just pay. You go to the supermarket, you pay the price there. But if you're going to the markets or you're looking to get, some islands, if you're going to be getting, activities on the water, they might say one price. You're supposed to negotiate a bit. So just have some negotiation skills ready to go. And the thing is, don't get upset with the negotiations. That's how business is done sometimes here, okay? But you just have to know when you can negotiate and when you can't negotiate. And another thing is with the negotiation, I kind of look at it also is look for some deals, because sometimes resorts might give you deals like, oh, if you sign up for a week, we'll give you an extra day. If you sign up for our higher level room, we'll give you free breakfast, and that can like add up. I mean, we ended up getting free breakfast here at the place we're staying at, and that saved us quite a bit of money because it's $22 for anyone 13 and over to eat. So that's 3 over 13s plus Liam, who's free. So that's $66 for breakfast. Oh my goodness. But now they gave us that little deal. It's free. Man, that's $66 in my pocket every day we're eating. We're on a 5th day of breakfast. Hey, I'm saving a plane ticket right there. So do look for those deals. Now, another thing I think is important in terms of looking at helping save your budget when you're coming to the Caribbean really comes down into looking at what island you're going to go to. Because some islands, I mean, all the islands are pricey. I'm going to say that. But some are more pricey than other ones. Like if you're going to Turks and Caicos, that is just a more pricey overall than if you're going to a place like Jamaica or Puerto Rico or something like that. So do your research into the island you want to go to, because you might see is that one's a little bit more pricey. Is there one similar to it that I could go to that's not going to be as pricey? So do your research on that. And it could be like, look, we're going to the Cayman Islands. It is one of the more expensive ones, but where we're going to stay there, we've got 7 Mile Beach right there. There's shopping right next to it. There's a minibus stop right outside, so I don't need to rent a car. So it's a little bit more money for my rental. But the thing is, I'm saving money and not having to go to the other places and pay for a rental car. So it kind of, adds up or adds down, I guess you'd say. So do your research on which island is going to be right for you, because some are better for divers, some are better for families, some are better for snorkel, some are better for history. So you want to kind of think about that in terms of what you want to do. Okay? And then, of course, to finish off, you have your usual budget helpers when you are traveling, right? You look for, like I talked about the deals I said before, but for lunchtime specials and things like that. Another one I'd say is look at when you're going to come. If you're going to come here during, from Christmas to New Year's and around then, it's going to be a lot higher priced if you come in early December, right? So you want to make sure you can look at your time frames when you can go to avoid the really peak times, because that can make it a bit more expensive, obviously. And one we actually used is look at various days when you can fly in. No, I know, you'll think it's vacation time. I'm leaving Saturday morning and we're coming back Sunday night. Well, yeah, you get the most bang for your buck in terms of your time frame. But one thing you have to realize is those plane tickets on those days might be significantly higher. We flew in on a Thursday and we're leaving on a Tuesday, and just doing that saved us $300 per ticket. So for the 4 of us, that's $1,200 we saved by not going Saturday to Saturday, but instead going Tuesday to Thursday. So think about that when you're looking for your dates, if you're looking to save a little money, because it will add up over time. And that's why I wanted to give you these budget tips, because I want people to visit the Caribbean. It's a fantastic place to go for all ages. It is really fun, but it is really pricey. So I hope this helps you understand a few tips to help you save some money on your next Caribbean vacation. And today we're going to talk about are some of the don'ts you should know before you come to the Caribbean, because there's a lot of do's when you're here, and it doesn't matter if you're going to Jamaica, if you're going to here in Aruba, or you're going to Barbados or someplace else. There's so many great islands, so many great people to visit, but there are some don'ts, and I want to just get started. And my first don't, which I think is really important for people to realize, is don't think that every Caribbean island is the same. Look, if you're going to Jamaica, you have a different experience than you come to Aruba, which is a different experience than going to Barbados, which is different than St. Kitts, which is if you're going to go up to Cuba, or if you're going to go to Puerto Rico and stuff like that. All these islands through here, they have distinct cultures, they have distinct people, distinct foods, all kinds of stuff. Yes, there are some things that are going to cross over, but you really need to know is there are differences here. And so you need to do your research to figure out what island's best for you. If you want more adventure stuff, I want to be jumping in waterfalls and doing things like that, maybe Jamaica's for you. If all I want to do is kick back and relax at the beach and do nothing else, Turks and Caicos could be for you. Oh, I want to do a little bit of beach, I want a little bit of adventure, maybe Aruba's for you. There's all kinds of different stuff you want to see and do. But the thing is, the islands can be different, so don't forget to do your research to figure out which island's gonna be right for you. Now, my next don't actually has to deal with the cruise travelers, because I know a lot of people just cruise through the Caribbean, which is awesome, don't get me wrong. But I think it's important for cruisers to know that don't think that the port of call truly represents the entire culture of the island you're going to. If you're going to here in Oranienstadt, or you're going to Ocho Rios in Jamaica, I mean, they're cool, they got stuff to do. But the thing is, they know that's where a lot of tourists come in. So you have lots of touts that are there, you have a lot of tourist restaurants, a lot of tourist shopping and things like that. And it's kind of like if you went to Orlando, yes, it would give you a taste of the United States, but does it give you a really deep down feel of it? No, you got to explore a little bit more. And so when you come here, make sure you are doing more than just walking in the town and walking back out with a few souvenirs. Hit up some of the beaches, do an excursion or something like that. And that leads to my second don't, specifically for cruise travelers coming to the Caribbean. If there's something you really want to do. Now I know the cruise ships will have excursions you can do, but what I recommend, if there's something that's really important to you, like if you're big into archaeology or you're really big into nature, wildlife or something like that, don't be afraid to hire your own personal guide that's just for you to go and visit the island. Now the thing is, the benefit for that is you don't have a huge busload of people, because when they do a bus tour, they have to do a bus tour. So you can't go in depth with something here. If one person is late, you all have to wait behind. It gets kind of annoying kind of stuff. So that's why I say is, look, if you want to learn more about, you know, the cave paintings here in Aruba, get a guide when you come and have them take you to there, okay? Now I will say this though, the drawback of having a private tour, one, probably costs a bit more, but two, if you're late coming back from a private tour, the cruise ship does not wait for you. The cruise ship will wait for you if you're on the bus tour, okay? So make sure you're planning ahead for those things, because honestly, I've done it a few times both ways, and I've got a lot of bang for the buck when it is going by ourselves. Because think about it, I mean, I know it's not really the Caribbean, but if you go to Cancun and you take that cruise and you take the excursion to Machu Picchu, I can already tell you the market they're gonna stop at to get you to buy stuff, and I can already tell you the town they're gonna stop at on the way out. It's already kind of planned, whereas when you have your own guide, you can say, okay, we're done here, let's go to the next spot. So that can help out. Now, you notice I'm talking pretty fast. I really need to slow down, because my next don't for you is don't get in a rush in the Caribbean. I know it might be the British West Indies or the Dutch Caribbean and things like that, and they might have those names that sound like everything will be on time. Look, you have to think island life, island time. Everything will happen, it will just take some time. So to get your menu, to get seated at the restaurant, to get your drink or your rum runner or whatever, might take a little time, okay? So just have patience. There's no reason to get upset. I mean, where are you gonna go? You're on an island. Enjoy the sun, enjoy the beach, enjoy relaxing. I personally think they do that so we tourists that are go, 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 are forced to just sit, calm down, relax, and enjoy the view. And when you're enjoying that view, my next don't for you is don't forget to bring some sun protection. Yes, sunblock is a really important thing, okay? You gotta have that. And yes, I am a bit red, and I've been putting on sunblock and reapplying it. But you have very intense sun rays down here. The farther you go south in the Caribbean, the more intense they get. So do have a heads up. Have your beach clothes, have a hat and stuff like that. And the thing is, some people laugh. They're like, oh, well, it's because you're bald, Mark, it burns. I'm like, I tell you what, if you have a part, if you're not bald and you have a part, it'll burn there too, okay? So make sure you're doing that as well. Because I've seen a lot of purple tourists here and in Jamaica and the Cayman Islands and other islands we've gone to. You want to be careful with that, all right? Now, my next don't for you is don't think that going to the Caribbean is going to be cheap. Those, you know, that lotion, the sunblock, bring it from home, because it might be 2, 3, 4, 5 times the price at the shops on the islands. Because think about it, we're in the Caribbean, they're islands. Islands by definition, things have to be brought into them, which increases the price. And then you have tons of tourists that come to these islands, which then increases the price. So you're not going to get a cheap vacation when you do come to the Caribbean, so have a heads up for it. So make sure you're planning your budget accordingly for when you do come to the Caribbean. Some islands are more affordable, and if you go and eat with the locals, you can save a lot of cash. But a lot of people like to stay in the resort areas and stuff like that where the prices are higher. So do have a heads up and use those supermarkets to your advantage. Even if you're just bringing snacks back, maybe you only eat 2 meals out a day and then you snack for dinner or you snack for lunch or you have a snack breakfast or something like that. It can put a dent in that really high price of coming to the Caribbean. Now my next note for you, we're going back to the beach, and that would be don't get overly upset with the aggressive touts when you're on the beach. You'll notice in Jamaica, you know, those guys will come up to you all the time. Hey, you want to buy something? You want to buy this? You want to buy that? You want some sunblock? You want some ganja? You want these things? Some islands, you're going to have touts that are going to come and try to sell you stuff incessantly again and again and again. Look, I know people get really frustrated with it. I've seen people yelling at the touts. What you have to realize is a lot of the islands in the Caribbean don't have a social system to support people. So those people, this is how they make a living, is selling those trinkets, is selling those tours and things like that. So what I feel works best, this worked for us in Jamaica, it worked for us here, worked for us in other places, is we said this, like, hey, we've already got our souvenirs for the day. Well, first off, we started with, hey, how are you doing today? So we greeted them back, didn't ignore them, didn't say, oh, leave me alone. Just common courtesy. Hey, how you doing? Good day, man. And they ask, oh, you want something? Like, nah, man, we already got all our souvenirs, but I respect you asking for us. I really appreciate it, man. You have a good day. See you later. I can't tell you how many times we got, hey, respect, man. Thanks, man. Have a good day too. And they kind of left us alone. And the thing is, it wasn't animosity or anything like that. Just realize that's how they make a living, and it can be frustrating, but just be prepared for it. So have your kind of line down so you can kind of go through. And if they do have something you want, why not buy it? Help out the local community, help out a local person, support their family. Now, my next don't for you has to do with the hurricanes, and that is don't forget hurricane season. July through November is hurricane season in the Caribbean, okay? Now here in Aruba, we're south of the hurricane belt, so they usually don't get anything, but other parts do get hit, and it is really horrible things happen. So make sure if you're gonna try to come in October or September or August or something like that, buy your trip insurance in case the bad weather does come. Have backup plans in case things don't go right, okay? Have those things kind of set up so you know what you should do in case a hurricane comes. Now, if you're coming outside those times, you don't really need to worry about it at all. You just got sun and you just got to worry about the sun, right? And so do have a heads up though, because July through November is hurricane season. Obviously towards the end and the beginning, a little less intense. You just really have to think about it when you are scheduling a trip to the Caribbean, okay? Now, I think you should see another beach view, so we'll move to another beach to enjoy some more tips on the Caribbean. Now, my next don't for you is don't forget to bring some US dollars. Look, most of the islands here have their own currencies, but kind of a secondary currency that is used on a lot of the islands is the US dollar. Because of all the US tourists that come here, a lot of it floods in. You will see ATMs that might give you the local currency or the US dollar. For example, here in Aruba, I can choose florins or dollars to have taken out. So do bring some with you. I also recommend that you do bring some smaller bills, bring some singles, bring some 5s and 10s, because if you're going to be, if you're on a cruise, you want to buy some little trinkets, you want to have the small bills because people might not have change, or if they do have change, they might give you change back in the local currency, so have a heads up. But in general, you're going to be okay just using the US dollar. Now, my next don't for you is don't think that your magic fanny pack is going to protect you here in the Caribbean. Look, I know when we travel, we think we put on our magic fanny pack and nothing bad will happen to us. Look, you do need to be careful when you are coming to the Caribbean. Now, I'm not saying it's unsafe everywhere. A lot of the Caribbean islands are actually very safe. Here in Aruba, Turks and Caicos, things like that. But a lot of times you do need to make sure you're using your usual traveler sense, okay? If you don't feel like you're in the right part of town, get out of that part of town. If you don't feel comfortable driving, hire a local guide or hire a local driver to show you around. That can really help. And that's why it's really important you do your research on the islands you're going to go to make sure you know what things you should look out for. Like, is there certain parts of the islands you shouldn't go to, or is it more bad at night, or things like that, just to give you the heads up. For example, if you're looking at all the stray dogs and cats you're going to see around on some of these islands, you know, they call them potcakes in Turks and Caicos, and there's actually potcake care centers you can go to and walk the dogs and stuff like that. Other places, you kind of want to stay away from them. So just have a heads up for that. Now, another thing I want to talk about is cell service, Wi-Fi, things like that. And my don't for that is, don't worry, you will have Wi-Fi, you will have electricity, you will have cell service, you will have all those things. Now, in terms of the data and the Wi-Fi and stuff like that, now it may say 4G or whatever on your phone. It doesn't mean you're going to get blazing fast internet when you're in your hotel or when you're on your phone, but you will have it, which is always nice. But I will tell you, if you're going to be going exploring on the islands, you know, maybe doing hikes or going on the more remote side of the islands, I recommend you download like a maps.me, like version map of the country, so you can be tracking on that in case you don't have cell service. Because sometimes in kind of the backwater parts of the islands, you might not have cell service. So just to be safe, download an offline map so you can have that, okay? Now, my next don't for you is don't be scared to leave your resort. Look, I know a lot of people, when they come to the Caribbean, they get worried about their safety and stuff like that. And they think, I'll just stay on my resort and I'm not gonna do anything else except drink my all-inclusive alcohol and eat my all-inclusive food, which is awesome. I mean, if that's what you wanna do, great. But don't be afraid to go off property. Go take a tour, go see some more of the island. Head up and go see the California Lighthouse here, or go snorkeling and doing things like that. Get out of your resort, because then you have a better chance of seeing some of the local culture. Now I realize a lot of people come specifically for those all-inclusive resorts because look, I want to be at Sandals and I just want to chillax. That's totally fine, but I always like to recommend people, don't just stay at the resort, go out and explore. Also, I find you get better food when you go out and explore as well. Now, another thing I want to talk about is when you're coming to the beach, okay? Obviously, the Caribbean, it's all about the beaches, the beautiful water, and the beautiful sand. And I'm going to tell you, don't forget to bring your beach accoutrement with you. You know, if you're taking kids, bring that little cheap, shovel and pail they have. Throw that in their backpacks, okay? You're not packing a lot. I mean, it's the beaches here, so you got t-shirts and swim trunks, so you have room in your suitcase. So bring the towel, bring extra sunblock like we talked about before, bring bug spray, bring your goggles and your snorkel and things like that. Because the thing is, when you buy it at the stores here, we talked about the sticker shock of here, you're gonna pay a lot more. So just bring it with you. You have it all from last year's summer vacation. Just throw it in there. It'll make your life so much easier. And what's cool is a lot of these places will have snorkeling things you can go do. So you can take your own snorkel. Maybe you like the ones that doesn't filter back in, or maybe you like the face mask one that just goes over your head. There's all kinds of different ones that you can get at home, and then you're not sharing something that 50 other people this week have like latched their mouth onto, okay? So do think about bringing some of that stuff with you. So one of those things I think you should pack and bring from home is also a reusable water bottle, because you don't want to get dehydrated. And if you have your own water bottle, you can refill it all the time and drink that, so you'll be okay, all right? Now, my next don't for you is don't go in the water if the flags say not to. Because a lot of times people come like, I don't care, I'm here on vacation, I'm going in the beach, I'm going in the surf, I'm gonna go enjoy the water, and they don't look at the flags. If the flags are red, you don't wanna go in. So make sure you're watching the flags, because you know what? You don't wanna be a horror story that happens when someone comes on vacation and gets swept out to sea. Now, it doesn't happen very often, but you will notice there's not a lot of lifeguards out on the beaches in the Caribbean. So do have a heads up with those flags. Now, my next tip for you kind of relates back to that one about getting off the resort, and that is, don't be afraid to go adventuring when you're here. Whether that adventuring is heading into Kingstown and seeing Trenchtown in Jamaica, or maybe you're going out on a Jeep safari or getting one of those gators and driving around and stuff like that. The Caribbean islands are made for adventure, okay? They're made to go out and explore. Go snorkeling, go parasailing, go kite surfing, go tubing, do all kinds of stuff. There's all kinds of great things. You want to swim with some rays and sharks? You can do that too. There's a lot of outdoor activities you can do when you're here. Hiking in some of the mountains. I mean, my goodness, going in Jamaica, just gorgeous inland. Here in Aruba, you can do some hikes at the national park. There's all kinds of cool stuff that you can do, but I really think it's one of the great things about the Caribbean is it's such a kind of adventurous, a lot of stuff you can do aside from chilling at the beach. And I guess that's actually why I think the next thing I should tell you is don't forget to bring the kids and the grandparents, because the Caribbean makes a great multi-generational destination. Because think about it, the people that would just want to sit at the beach and relax and do nothing can do that. The people that just want to drink rum can do that. The kids that want to go to the pool, they can do that. Those that want to go out and adventuring and doing things and jumping in waterfalls and stuff like that, they can do that. There's something for everybody when you're here, and that's what's really nice about it. And it's really, a wonderful place to be for all generations, okay? But I will say, my last don't for you is don't expect to find a lot of empty space on the beach, okay? You're not gonna get a lot of alone time. Now, I know I'm here getting some alone time filming, but it's also 7 o'clock in the morning, okay? And the thing is, you have to realize, because the Caribbean is so popular and tourists come here all the time, it's gonna be busy. You're gonna have those prices I talked about, but it's gonna be hard to find time for yourself or things like that, or alone space, okay? So just be ready to be able to share your wonderful family vacation with a lot of other families or a lot of other couples and things like that. But it is well worth it.